What's up, everybody? It's Taylor Soper from GeekWire, and we are here at CES Day 2 of the Consumer Electronics Show, and we are joined by the one and only John Cook.
Whoop, there it is.
Great to have you on, John. So today was Day 2, but really the show doesn't start until Wednesday, and today's Monday. Tomorrow is press day, but today you saw a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, first off, I would just have to say, aren't you surprised by the lack of crowds here so far? I don't know. When we came in last year, it seemed more crowded. I think it's a little light on attendance, activity. I'm sure it's going to be building later in the week, but it just seems a little thin in Vegas. What are your thoughts?
So they had 175,000 last year, and they actually tried to bring that down a little bit for whatever reason this year. So, but that doesn't. Regardless, it does seem it's been dumbed down a little bit. But we'll find out tomorrow if it's really.
I don't know about dumbed down, but it's a little more chill. There's not as much activity. We're standing outside of, where are we? Harrah's, the Mirage, Flamingo, the Link right over here. And there just doesn't seem as much of a buzz going on as in years past. The biggest thing that I saw was, the Luxor. The Luxor has the biggest branding that indicates that we're here in Vegas for CES. Snapchat, what did you see down at the Luxor?
Well, there was a Snapchat logo on the pyramid there at Luxor.
Giant logo.
Giant logo. It looks like a Snap code, which people can scan on their phone and bring up a profile or bring up a Snapchat message. That was a little odd, but it makes sense. We're at CES. Snapchat's a big company, although Snapchat doesn't really have a big presence here, nor do companies like Google or Apple. But that was pretty interesting, I got to say.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that I've seen that indicates that CES is actually going on here. Right. There hasn't been a lot of other activity. A lot of the cab drivers we've been talking to, some of the people I've flown down here with, don't really know what's even going on yet. So, I should tell you about my cab driver experience that I had with a miserable experience. It was this woman's third day on the job, didn't know how to get to the Mandalay Bay, almost wrecked twice, and so it was quite a spectacle, I gotta say. But anyway, we had another cab ride with a guy by the name of Keith, who I think is one of the most memorable cab rides I've ever had. But he was telling us about something that's a really hot thing that's happening down here in Vegas. This is a new product from LG, which is a tablet computer that rolls up. It's an 18-inch screen, and it rolls up. And Keith was saying, why in the world would anybody want that? And I was perplexed. I couldn't come up with an application of why anybody would want a tablet that rolls up.
It was a legitimate question from Keith. Keith, who
Great
was
guy. Great guy.
Great guy. Very tech savvy, actually, which was a little surprising. But yeah, the foldable tablet doesn't make sense unless you want to roll it up and put it in your pocket. It just seems very odd.
Yeah. So you alluded to this earlier, but the highlight of my day so far, I just got into Vegas today, was probably seeing one of our greatest actors, Kevin Spacey. Now, I know him, obviously, from The Usual Suspects. You probably know him from The House of Cards. But he actually gave a fantastic talk at the AT&T Developer Summit today, talking about the art of storytelling and how it's being changed by technology. And I just think it was a fantastic dive into the importance of technology and how it's changing storytelling. And in Kevin Spacey's mind, it can have an impact in a very, very positive way. Now, I know a lot of people think that, all these new technologies are like shrinking our attention spans, and Kevin Spacey wasn't really going that route. He thinks it's going to open up new doors to how we can tell stories and interact and connect with audiences in a new way. So I wrote about it on GeekWire, and I was just really excited to see that talk. I thought it was actually perhaps, and I said this to Kyle Kesterson, who's a Seattleite who now lives in Vegas, who I was sitting next to during the talk, I think it's the best talk I've ever seen at CES. It was fantastic. So if you wanted to learn more about storytelling, media, entertainment, read that piece, and we'll have more on it on GeekWire.
That's high praise.
What did you see at CES Unveiled? Because that's where you were while I was at the Kevin Spacey talk.
So I was at CES Unveiled, and it's kind of like the pre-show to the show a little bit. CES invites a bunch of small startups to this event. It's a big ballroom with like 100, 200 startups. I saw a lot of technology that will probably never see the light of day. For example, I saw a face scanner that could tell you how happy you are based on how much you're smiling.
Yeah, I don't think I need to know that.
Don't think you need to know that. But
No.
then again, I also saw technologies like a streaming box that you could share your own feed of what you were watching with up to 6 family or friends. So say you had NBA TV and I didn't, and I wanted to watch the game. You could stream it online and share the feed with me, and it would show 2 little selfie boxes of our faces. So we would be like sitting on a virtual couch watching the game. For me, that was usable and cool and innovative.
Yeah. Well, I think that gets into like the idea of virtual reality. That's going to be a big part of this show. Autonomous cars is going to be a big part. We're seeing a lot of announcements coming up in the next couple days from the big car companies, whether it's Volkswagen, Kia, Ford. There's going to be a lot of news from the big car makers. In fact, a lot of people say that CES is really just kind of morphed into an auto show to some degree, and so we'll be covering that. So I think those are kind of the big themes, which I know you talked about a little bit earlier, was autonomous cars, all the stuff with auto technologies, virtual reality. That seems to be kind of the buzz this year. Last year, wasn't it was it curved TVs last year, or was that 2 years ago? I can't remember.
That was last year,
Yeah.
and that hasn't really taken
Yeah,
shape.
we haven't even really heard anything about that this year.
That's kind of the story of CES. So you'll see a lot of stuff that will never, ever hit the mainstream, but you will see a few things that will probably be in our home or car or on your smartphone in the next couple of years, and that's why we're here to report all the future things that we'll be using in the future. So what are you excited for tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday? We are here for a while.
Yeah, we are. You know, tomorrow I'm excited for the probably the Intel CEO. Is probably gonna be. They had one of the better keynotes last year, and I think this year there's high hopes. They just bought a drone company, so I want to hear what their plans are in drones. So I would say that's probably the highlight for me tomorrow. Is that talk? I know Ford is going to have some big announcements, but I don't. I drive a 23-year-old Honda. I get really excited about all the technologies in automobiles? Not really. I'm pretty old school.
Yeah, but there's going to be some pretty cool stuff. But granted, I understand where you're going with that. So
Anyway, it's going to be a fun week. Tune back in. We're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of stories. You've been doing a great job covering it, and
we're just getting started.
Just getting started.
So stay with us. Tune in to GeekWire for the latest from CES 2016, and we'll talk to you guys soon.